And we're now all present, so I call the January 7th meeting of the Planning Board to order. First on the agenda are the minutes.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of December 10th, 2013 and December 17th, 2013, as amended.
Both of them as amended?
Yep.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We move on. Approval not required plans. We don't have any, okay. Public hearing. Applicant Charles M. and Thomas S. Crane, a definitive plan to subdivide 4.2 acres into 3 lots located at 39 Juniper Point Road, Woods Hole. Notices?
Madam Chair, there were 12 abutters notices that were sent by certified mail on December 17th, 2013. 9 signed receipts were returned. 1 able to forward was sent back. It was published in the Falmouth Enterprise, publishing dates of 12/17/13, 12/24/13, and 12/31/13.
Okay. For the applicant, please.
Good evening. My name is Michael McGrath. I'm a civil engineer and land surveyor. I work at Holmes & McGrath, and we filed the subdivision plan that is, we're having the hearing tonight. This is a rather unique parcel. What I've done for the convenience of the board is I've given you reduced copies of that colored plan. I also brought reduced copies of the area map. Falmouth is indeed a very interesting community in that we have some very interesting neighborhood. This neighborhood is, this is 4.17 acres that lies between Little Harbor and Great Harbor and Woods Hole, and it's basically in the peninsula that contains the airplane house down here. I think everybody knows where the airplane house is. And the steamship authority is up in this neighborhood, and the Coast Guard is over here. So we have a sort of an interesting neighborhood. You have a copy of this. This is Great Harbor, Little Harbor. You actually, Crane Street, when you come down Woods Hole Road, you turn to Crane Street and you get down Juniper Point Road to reach the site. There is a series, there's also Little Harbor Road, and then there's these, Hinckley Road goes all the way out to the airplane house, and Juniper Point Road comes down to in this vicinity. And the issue is that the Crane family has owned this land for a long time. There's a very substantial house. There's also a cape here. And what they would like to do is subdivide this land to create an additional lot. We originally filed an approval not required plan, and we gave you a bunch of historic documents that showed you how this was developed. The bottom line is the streets are well established. They serve a whole host of different uses, but most of them overwhelmingly are residential. The Coast Guard base is obviously the only other use that is not residential. But what I've done is I have submitted with the application a list of waivers, and what we'd like you to do is accept the conditions of the roads as they are and the width that's shown on the plan. And in support of that, I've given you a copy of a map, and it has different places labeled A, B, C, and D, and off to the side, A, B, C, and D, are photographs that describe the width of the traveled surface and the width of the layout. And I have more full-size copies of those photographs because I realized that those photographs are pretty difficult to see on the plans that I provided. So I'd like to give you a full-size copy of the photographs marked A, B, C, and D, and including my thumb. A is Hinckley Road. Hinckley Road's a public road, and at point A, is 11-foot surface. It's 18-foot wide layout. B, again, is on Hinckley Road. It's a 9-foot wide roadway, 18-foot wide layout. C is Butler Road. Butler Road is a public road. It's a 9.5-foot wide roadway and a 24-foot wide pavement. And then Juniper Point Road is a 9.5-foot wide roadway and variable width layout. One of the reasons that we have asked you for the to consider the waiver, if you've been to the site has got some very unique topographic features and some other features that are just absolutely unique. And what I'd like to do now is hand out some more photographs. And what these photographs are a series of
Not yet.
I just want clarification.
Oh, all right.
oh, sure.
Are these looking, I can't tell which direction to look at. Are these trying to look north except the sea?
They're looking in the same direction as the arrow. So I'm sorry, the arrow didn't print out on that one, but I gave the board full-size copies of that someplace.
Thank you.
So what these are a series of photographs of Juniper Point Road at the site. I like to keep one just so and what the first photograph does is, this is coming down Juniper Point Road in this direction, and there's a whole group of very substantial trees that come along here. The building in the back of this is this garage, and you can see there's a cape in this portion, and that's the cape. And you can see that there are these beautiful large trees that exist on, that would be the southeasterly side of Juniper Point Road. The next photograph is a retaining wall. There's a retaining wall all along Juniper Point Road at this point. And so this shows you that there's a topographic feature, that this is the second photograph, and there's a wetland in this location, and so there's a very narrow band of upland at the base. This is a very beautiful old wall. The third photograph is, there is already people that use Juniper Point Road as access and show. I was trying to show you the trees up close. This is the garage in the background, and this is this driveway that goes off to the side. And I submitted these photographs in order for you to understand that this is a completely unique area. There are topographic reasons why we would ask you to consider seriously the request to approve the plan as shown. Normally, you'd have a 44-foot wide layout and a 22-foot wide paved surface. But we don't have the physical room to do that, plus we'd be connecting to roadways that are much smaller. I believe that since this neighborhood is so unique and isolated in a way, that these are appropriate type of waivers. Hinckley Road is 18-foot wide, is public. We show this road layout to be the same location, the same width. We follow the actual traveled way. This traveled way goes down and serves a boathouse, then there's a cape, and then there's the airplane house. So there's two residences, they're not full-time, two residences further down Hinckley Road. We've laid this out to be the same width as Hinckley Road. All of the surfaces here this is gravel. We propose to do no construction. We have given you plan and profiles to show you the grades, and you can scale the widths of the roadways. This is also paved in here, and we've made it The exact width of this is 24 feet, which is the same width as Butler Street. So what we've asked you to do is accept these layouts to be narrower than what you would require. We've asked you to accept that the construction of the roads is adequate for the additional house that will be constructed on Lot 2. And we would also point out that the utilities right now are already buried. There's no overhead utilities. And in fact, they would agree that any future utilities that serve any of these lots would be continually to be buried. And I believe that the utilities are adequate to serve the needs of one more house. The roadways, there are catch basins on Juniper Point Road, and we've examined them, and we've not seen any puddles here. This is a gravel surface, and I have a photograph of that if you want it. We don't propose to do any work there. So, Madam Chairman, there's a planning board member with his hand raised. Should I answer the question?
I wanted to hear Mike's presentation, and then we can go to questions, unless you have something that you need to have clarified right now.
Well, I believe that the 3 lots that are shown on the plan conform to zoning. This is an area with 40,000 square foot minimum lot size. It's in a residential B zoning district. You need 100-foot minimum frontage and 125-foot lot width. These lots all meet or exceed the minimum criteria of the zoning bylaw as they're depicted on the plan. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Okay. Now, okay, let me just say something first up. We're not going to discuss the plan because we will have discussion at another meeting, but if there are any questions for clarification.
There's actually 2 questions in one. So right now, what you're having here is 2 dwellings on one parcel of land. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so what this does is it creates 3 separate building lots, and each of the existing dwellings will now be on its own lot. Is that correct?
Each of the 2 existing dwellings would be on conforming lots, yes.
Will be on conforming lots. And then what you'll be doing is you would be enabling the construction of one more house, which would be on lot 2, which, as far as emergency access goes, would just be a straight shot from the end of the existing Juniper Road. Am I correct?
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Are there other questions for Mike in regard to the plan at this point?
Very unique property.
It is a unique property, yes. Jim?
Can you show me where the frontage is that you're counting? You say these lots have the appropriate frontage, and what road that you're saying that frontage is on?
Yes. Lot 1 has 100 feet of frontage on Juniper Point Road. Lot 2 has 153 feet of frontage on Juniper Point Road.
Is that, you say Juniper Road, but on the plan I see, it says it's labeled as a right-of-way. It's not labeled as Juniper Point Road. The plan you submitted to us calls it a right-of-way. It doesn't it looks like Juniper Road ends here, and this is a right-of-way. Are you calling this right-of-way
No,
Juniper Point Road?
I've clearly labeled that Juniper Point Road on
Lot 2.
this plan. That's
This is-
Juniper Point Road. This is
Right, I
the
got
road
that
we're
one. No, I'm saying
creating.
this, I'm saying the next lot. This is the lot, I got the 100 feet
It comes all the way
here.
down here.
Oh, this is this.
I'll trace the lot line.
Okay, I was confused by where the lot line is, okay.
I'll trace the lot line.
I see it now. It's got a hammerhead lot, I didn't recognize that as being,
And then
lot.
this has
I see the 129 all set.
yeah, there's much more than 100 feet there.
No,
I'd
but I
have to
see
add
it.
it up, and I'm not very good at
It
that.
grabs the other side of Juniper Point Road. I couldn't see it on the plan,
by
now I do.
feet. I have photographs of the houses if you care to look at them. The big house is a very unique structure.
Been to the site.
Ralph?
Mr. McGrath, If we were to do a site visit of this area, are those roads passable right now, considering the storm we had just had?
Yes, they were all
all
staked out with stations that
Are the roads
relay.
plowed?
That,
Are all the roads
I was not down
plowed?
there today.
There's no snow anymore.
No, there's no snow down there.
Okay.
They would always be plowed eventually anyways.
Is there town water and hydrants? Show me where the town water extent is and the hydrants are.
The approximate water main comes down Butler and it stops there. And then I know there's a water main that comes down, approximate water main location is shown on the plan as it comes all the way down through here. Hink, probably? There's a, yeah, yes, could you come up and point out the hydrant?
Hi, my name's Tom Cran, the property owner. Thank you. The one hydrant on the property is right here.
Okay, so there is town water, obviously.
Absolutely. Running down here, it serves the Vine property, the Bagger property, and up through here, and obviously this house, and it passes right through here, so it would be completely accessible for Lot 2, which is the lot I plan to build on.
Okay, thank you. And Mike, you have given us the ABCD with representative roadway widths. Let's just take 9.5 feet. Two of them are that. One is 9 feet wide, and the other is 11. Those are representative. Does it get narrower than the 9 to 9.5 feet at any point? Or is that the narrowest?
That's a trick question for a land surveyor. We were just
Well,
joking about. Let's put it this way. I didn't measure it everywhere, is the issue as a surveyor. But
Okay.
as one of the photographs show you, you can easily pass. I didn't think about seeing if that was the narrowest. I know that I can easily drive through those roads.
You could easily drive through, but if there were an approaching vehicle, do we narrow down to, say, 7 feet at one point? And
I don't really think so. I mean, now that you've asked the question, I'll go out and look, but I freely drive into the site every time. I've never had any real issues.
Mike, what's the street address of Lot 1?
It's 39 Juniper Point Road.
Okay, because I'm a little surprised that it isn't Hinckley Road, because, you know, I'm thinking if you're getting a call for emergency services or something, and you're going down Juniper Point Road, what happened to me out there, I could see happening to the police or the fire department. You're looking around, and, you know, you come into this area, you don't know what the heck's going on. Whereas if it was Hinckley Road, you're coming in, you go down to Hinckley Road. And I would assume that Lot 3 is also Juniper Point, and Lot 2 would be Juniper Point. But my confusion when I went out there was going down Juniper Point and then trying to navigate my way through, not knowing what that gravel path was. It was for vehicles or what it was for.
When I filed the approval not required plan, I filed a whole bunch of historic information. And they're actually rights for other people to come up here and use this. So they may be limited, but there are rights in this. So this is a through right-of-way. So you can drive all the way through, down to,
Yeah.
from the northwest side to the southeast side.
Yeah, because I'm just a little surprised, there's only 72 feet of frontage. Well, actually, I don't know, would you consider that gravel path frontage on Lot 1, because it's going through Lot 3? I would consider frontage to be on Hinckley Road, not on that gravel path.
Lot 1, oh, I have zoning frontage here,
Okay,
but practically frontage, I think there'll be private agreements that will continue to have them come this way and preserve this as 39 Juniper Point Road. Under the 911, it's 39 Juniper Point Road, 911 system.
okay.
I would ask the board if you, when you approve this, or that you allow the town engineer to determine the appropriate house number. Because he's the one that signs the house numbers for the 911 system.
When I visited the site, there was a chain and a post where the gravel road that I think you're calling Juniper Road joins Hinckley Road. Is that still there, and why is that chained off with chain and lock?
I think the owner should answer.
Sure, this is Mr. Crane. We keep this chained in the off-season for security. You know, unfortunately, being so close to the Steamship Authority, people have way too much time and little respect for private property. You know, if anyone can assure us security on our property without those chains, I'd be absolutely delighted not to use it, but we've found it necessary in seasonal use. It's never up, you know, like from Memorial Day through, you know, Labor Day, but it's strictly for that reason.
Rich?
Chaining off a
Yes, do the two existing structures have different house numbers on Juniper Point Road?
He said yes, I believe. This is 39, I think this is 26.
And the 29, the one that's no longer really going to be on Juniper Point Road could be changed, is that correct?
So again, it's 39, sir.
Yeah.
It could be, to answer Mr. Leary's question, thanks. Through Juniper Point Road, it is the access to the main house. Through easements, it will always be that way. I certainly understand why you were saying what you were, given the legal frontage here. No one can get access to the big house. We call this the big house from Hinckley Road. Any ambulance, unfortunately, when my mother was not well, came several times and knows this is the way to go. So the historic layout, I can't remotely imagine that to be any sort of issue. And by the way, just as background, I was here in the summer. Just the family purpose behind this is it's been a great old house. We feel we have to move along. My brother's there's a brother and me. We've been on the Juniper Point all of our lives. This is going to be my lot. This will be his lot, and it's the only configuration, you know, we could figure out to make it work to, you know, let go of this, and that's really what's driving so much of this. There's no commercial, you know, subdivisions for sales. I plan to retire here, you know.
The surface is paved in some spots, gravel in other spots, and having lived on a road that was recently repaved because it got so bad that we couldn't get services down the road anymore. My question comes then, the deterioration is showing of the pavement in these pictures. How, is there any change to the surface as planned when and if the subdivision is approved? And, because I'd hate to think, well, as you said, an ambulance knew the way, but an ambulance may not be able to get there if the potholes are hubcap deep. So we can, obviously, in the decision, put some stipulations in, but I wonder if there has been thought in this regard, as to how you keep the surfaces, and what have you done in the past?
Ms. Kerfoot, I'm smiling because if you could see the email chains between me and my brother going back even to yesterday to try to bring back Juniper Point Road because of the degrading condition, it's been like getting a lot of work done in a family is a lot more challenging than I'd like. So the plan is to upgrade through the end of the pavement and leave the existing conditions there. New owner, you know, may want it fancier and may want this section paved, but we weren't planning any changes other than, as I just said, to upgrade and redo the paving to bring that up to where it was. If you all have a preference.
Okay, so Juniper Road, down to the end of the road, the plan is to redo that
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay.
And again, you know, if you'll have a preference, I'm happy to hear from you, but, you know, it's been like pulling teeth on that one.
Sure, well, we can put these sorts of things into our conditions, but I just wondered if if there were plans on the table. I too well remember shoveling a 3-foot deep snow on our road to get to Woods Hole Road because we could not get the services in. So this is important if we are going to think about allowing that.
Absolutely my plan.
Okay.
I wanted to point out that the points A and B are on the Town of Falmouth public road. So B does show somewhere it's in front of the Coast Guard base. So,
No, I understand Hinckley Road, but we are focusing on Juniper Point Road
Okay,
here because
I
that is being testified to being the main access for these lots,
that's true.
regardless of where the frontage may be.
But just to point out, the Brown and the Meggses are here. They live right here. This is a public road. This is spotless compared to the public way in Butler Street.
Okay. Thank you. Are there further questions from the board? Ralph?
Yeah, I have a couple. Is the area sewered?
No.
No sewered.
Can you bring that to us? We'd love to see that.
I'm afraid
would
you'd
like
have
the
to bring
betterment.
it to yourself.
Just a big pipe it to the sound.
Let's see. I see there is no drainage on any of these roads, you know, catch basins or anything. Is that correct?
No, what I described was there's a catch basin on Juniper Point Road that's shown on the plan of profile, and we wrote in our letter of opinion that says that we've not seen it flood. We've been there many times.
Okay, where is that located, Mr. McGrath?
There's a catch basin. Here, and there's one more. There's another one down further. It's right here.
Catch
I'm
basin
sorry.
at this corner
Right here.
and down here.
Yeah,
And then here. So there are actually three, the corner of Butler and at this corner. And I maintain them. Those, you know, I need to have them work, again, for flooding, and, you know, I keep them maintained and they work properly. And I think Mike's certified to that.
so those catch basins are concentrated at the intersection of Juniper Point Road and Butler Street, is that right? No.
Well,
I don't have that diagram. I have this diagram. If you could show me on that diagram, then maybe I could
sure.
put a note. Would you put it up on the easels?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I don't,
So,
okay, thanks.
so one is right at the corner here between the intersection of Juniper Point Road and Butler.
Yeah,
And then this is the Allen Vine Bediger driveway. And so there's one right at this corner, and then there's another kitty corner right here.
okay.
And that plan that Mr. McGrath, that one,
Yeah.
if you'd like.
Yeah, I put them on
Good.
my big waiver.
So they're all on the paved section of Juniper Point.
That's correct, because the others, you know, are permeable. We've just never had any issues. Now, I mean, obviously, This part of Hinckley Road is a seawall, and so obviously maintaining this is a challenge right next to the ocean, but, you know, we keep working at it.
And my last question is, as you know, the new FEMA maps are out and to be, I believe, have to be accepted by the town. I take it that this proposed subdivision would be in an area that would be affected by the FEMA maps, is that correct?
Yes, but it's actually positively affected in that, let me find a subdivision. Currently, this is a velocity zone. It runs way up inside, beyond the boat shop. And the new FEMA maps have the velocity zone closer to Little Harbor. So this is one of the unique places where we're better off. About 5 or 10% of the people are better off. So this is one where the velocity zone moves away.
The velocity zone, I understand it, but how about the flooding zone, the flooding portion?
Well, even with the increase in height, none of these houses are going to be in a flood zone,
Okay.
in an A zone.
Okay. There's a zone,
Zone
they're
C.
all in the Zone C?
Yeah, well, they don't call it Zone C anymore.
Well, it's on your map.
No, but I meant the future won't be called Zone C. It's going to be called Zone X.
Okay. Thank
No,
you.
believe me.
Okay,
Look,
thank
we
you.
had to go and change the datum. That's another thing. You have no idea how, should I say stupid?
You're on TV, Mike. Remember?
They publish a difference. They say it's 9 inches. I measured 1.3 feet in Woods Hole. I notified FEMA. The issue is that if you use one datum and you use the 0.9 feet and someone else uses the actual measurement, you could find out that the building's not conforming. And surveyors can do it using, it's not to be believed. Sometimes they shouldn't use satellites.
Are there further questions?
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have climbed up on that soapbox.
Brian, I want to ask you a question first. On the requirements for a definitive plan, the requirements under content talks about having a topographical map with 2-foot contours. Is that still a requirement? I got this from the Code of Falmouth. Is that still,
You could require it, correct. I think Mike has contours shown on the plan.
but this plan has no contours on it at all.
Oh, the big one.
The big one.
Well,
I
I
never
got
sh-
a copy of the big one. This is I made my own copy and looked at it. Do I see contours on all this?
No, there's no
It's a very
con-
steep hill here, and I don't see.
There's no contours on a definitive plan, but
Yeah, okay.
I have provided the town before, a long time ago, a copy of a topographic survey of the site, so I
So
do
you
have.
have, we could have it included in the
Yes.
package. That's all I was, when we finally review this, we'll get to see that.
Yes, I will
That's
be
all I was
happy to
checking
submit
on.
copies of the topographic surveys.
Because I know you had submitted other plans and there's other references, but that was my question. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions of the board? Okay, move out to the public to see if there are any comments or questions. And considering there have been comments from the family already and neighbors, do you have any further ones that you wish to make?
So I just have one very.
Could you please go up there and give your name? Thank you.
Just a clarification, I think that Hinckley Road becomes a private road before it comes past the Coast Guard, and just past the Coast Guard, then it becomes a private road all the way out to the rest of Juniper
Okay.
Point. That it's only a public road in front of where the Coast Guard is,
Okay.
and it's a private road the rest of it.
Could you give your name for the record, please?
Yes, sorry.
That's okay.
Public record, it's Ann, A-N-N-E, and the last name is Meigs, M-E-I-G-S.
Thank
Susan
you.
Brown. So that was my only
Thank you.
question.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, now if the board is satisfied with the information that has been presented, we can close the hearing. What do you think, Mr. Curry?
You're looking for some utilities information on town water and hydrant. You're looking for topo, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
We have referrals back from all, everybody we need to get referrals back from. So if you think there's enough information in front of you, you can close it now, Chairman. If I think you may want to wait for some information that the board members asked for.
Okay.
Written comments, to get that information in, and then you can discuss it at your next meeting.
Okay, fine. Then we will simply continue it.
For the other information that you require for the water information and so far, I'll keep it over 2 weeks for the written information.
So you're recommending that we keep it open for the information that, to be returned to us that we have requested, plus any kind of written comments that we might receive.
I think that's probably the best way.
Okay.
Okay.
So it seems like,
Provide some topo information. We don't want to close it after it's closed.
mhm.
So topographic information, water line information, and information on the right of way you're looking for. So just keep it open for written comments to see, get that in, and then we'll take it under advisement and put it on your next agenda that you're discussing tonight.
Okay. And that would be probably what?
Let's see, we're not meeting the 21st, so you're probably looking at the 28th for a special meeting.
Okay.
So the motion should be to close the hearing on the written comments until Tuesday, January 21st.
Okay, not keep it totally open then, just close the hearing except for written.
But the written comments, the written information you're looking for.
Okay, then I need a motion to
If-
that
if
effect.
the board is comfortable,
Mhm.
that's what if the one in front of you is sufficient for you to render a decision, plus that additional information.
Madam Chairman?
Yes,
All the public notices have been sent, all the butters, everything, they did everything they're supposed to do. and I'm-
Absolutely.
I'm all set with closing.
You
it with
feel
the-
that we've
with the ex-
gotten enough?
With the exception of the outstanding items we've asked for. They've done what they had to do.
okay, so I need a motion to that
I so
effect.
moved, I moved that.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion in that regard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstain. Thank you.
I had a difficult time understanding the frontage on this damn thing.
I know,
Until he pointed it out, I couldn't understand it at all.
yeah.
This is the most convoluted thing I've ever seen, but he's got it.
I know.
Strange, huh?
I've seen them like that.
I haven't.
Okay, folks, we're moving on now for a decision. The applicant is Dr. Frederick Lowe. Preliminary plan to subdivide 3 lots into 4 lots on 4.69 acres located at Chase Road and Low Way, Falmouth. BSS Design.
Madam Chair, may I make a motion?
You can make a motion.
Motion
Wait, can-
that the planning
Wait,
board vote
whoa,
the
wait a
following-
minute, just a minute. Bob has a thing.
I'd like to recuse myself from this.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Bob is going to recuse himself from this issue. Okay, you can make the motion now.
Motion that the planning board vote the following recommendation to address the issues raised under the subdivision regulations of the town of Falmouth, Article 3 preliminary plans. For a plan entitled, quote, preliminary subdivision plan prepared for Dr. Frederick Lowe, close quote, prepared by BSS Design dated November 26, 2013, scale 1 to 640 feet. 1, a list of waivers from the planning board's rules and regulations governing the subdivision of area must be included as part of the definitive plan application. 2, the applicant is referred to the planning board's decision of May 8, 1991 regarding the definitive plan of Lowe's Way for guidance regarding the construction of the roadway extension proposed as part of this application. The applicant's attention is especially directed to the conditions of the approval concerning width of layout, construction standards, and the imposition of town water to all lots, together with the provision of a fire hydrant at the end of the way. 3, typically, the planning board requires a hardened roadway surface for the number of lots proposed here. 4, however, the board usually allows for a reduction in the width of the traveled way anywhere from 14 to 16 feet and suggests the same here. Revised drainage details and calculations should accompany the definitive plan application. 4, a zoning determination should be sought from the building commissioner regarding the creation of lots 1 and 4 from land owned now or formerly by the owner of lot 30 as depicted on the preliminary plan.
Okay. Do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Now we need discussion. Does anybody have comments in regard? Yes, Ralph.
Yes, I wonder if Brian could explain the status of the 1991 definitive plan and how it relates to this one. And number 2, our agenda says that 4.2 acres will be divided into 3 lots, and are they then they're purchasing a 4th lot? Is that my understanding? So that's why we're looking at a 4-lot subdivision?
I would disregard the agenda. It's probably topographic here, and just focus on the plan and the motion. So the plan shows, I think, 4 lots. So on 4.62 acres, so that's what your motion addresses. The status of the 1991 plan is that's an approved plan and recorded at the Registry of Deeds. Together with your decision, you should have a copy of it. So the applicants, your suggestion to the applicant in this motion is to follow that 91 decision and plan, the recommendations that you find. So the status is that it's an approved and recorded plan.
So the 1991 decision was for a subdivision of 2 lots.
I believe there was the roadway itself and that lot. I don't have the plan in front of me, but I believe it was the roadway itself and one lot.
So it was 1 lot subdivided into 2. So the original subdivision for 1991 was for 2 lots.
Sure.
Thank you.
My understanding of the motion as it's just presented is that the reference to that 1991 plan really just is concerned with the construction of the roadway, the standards of construction for the roadway, width, surface, and so forth. It really has, that plan has no bearing on this one, other than we're taking those 2 lots and now making them into 4. But the roadway construction standards from 1991 are being reincorporated.
Plus the water,
Right,
provision of water.
right, but the reference to the 1991 plan is simply how you're
Roadway.
going to build the road.
Right.
Correct. Follow the guidance of the original definitive plan. In the layout of this cul-de-sac. They were looking for the board's guidance. They were on 9 feet, I remember, whatever it was they discussed with me. And we've already decided that back in 1991. Follow that decision, it's recorded. And then typically the board, once you start adding lots, you start looking at a hardened surface. It may not have to be 22 feet wide and the back of the back of the berm, but in the past, you looked at 14 to 16 feet, you suggest the same here. So yes, you're looking at some construction standards, but you're adding 2 additional. And there's a preliminary plan, giving them some guidance, finding on you or them. But you gives them some pretty good advice as to the creators.
Okay. Are there further questions or comments on this motion? If not, are you, Ralph?
Right. The coastal pond for, under natural resources on the subdivision staff report is an open, is Xed off as an open issue. So, does that mean that it hasn't been determined whether it's in the coastal pond or whether or not part of it is in there, or why is that an open item?
We check it off because it's in the district. It's in that overlay district. but it's under 5 acres and it's under 5 lots. So you can't require a denaturfication system, but it might be something you discuss with the applicant. That's why we had it checked off.
Okay. So it does fall within the coastal pond overlay?
It's in the district,
Mhm.
but that's under the thresholds for your ability to require denaturfication.
Right.
Doug?
And so now, we're going from 2 lots to 4, so really all these things are back on the table, even though we could choose to support the previous decision, we're not really bound to, right?
Correct, they file a new definitive plan decision. The table's reset, you could actually, it could be a modification of that 1991 decision.
Right.
You can add to it or subtract to it at your discretion.
So in giving them some more latitude with the roadway width, possible other concessions, we could encourage them to consider the denitrification as sort of
And you've
a
done
give
that-
and take.
And you've done that in the past, but remember, so you're still in subdivision law, not zoning law. So it's something you might want to discuss with them. But again, it's something you can't.
I see. Okay.
Is this something that you would like to see added into the motion, do you believe?
I think it's something we should consider, or at least discuss, because it is in a, it seems to me, a sensitive area.
Yeah, because this motion is giving them guidance as to what we would like to see in the definitive plan. So if you'd like to make an amendment to the motion that we can add here.
I think I would like to, yes.
Okay.
That they consider denitrification.
Okay, so you'd like to move that they consider, as an amendment to this motion, that they consider denitrification
Yes.
because of the sensitivity of the area.
Correct.
Do I have a second for that?
I will.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion on that amendment to the original motion? No? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so that is now an amendment to the original motion. Is there further discussion on the original motion as amended?
Yeah. Well, there's no mention in here about street lighting. And the regulation requires lighting at the entrance and at the end of the cul-de-sac. And I didn't see anything in the original definitive plan approved in 1991 about street lighting. So I'm assuming that, that we will get a list of waivers, requested waivers from the applicant.
Condition number, suggestion number 1 in your motion form.
Well, I'm sorry, you're right. I'm just hoping that that would be, okay, that will be one of them. Okay, thank you.
Either that or they will have street lighting in the
Right.
definitive plan. Okay. Any further comments or discussion? Okay, if you're ready to take a vote on the motion as amended, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Okay, thank you. Moving on, correspondence. Brian, do you have the folder on that? Correspondence folder? Is there any?
I don't believe it's in here, so I'll suggest that there's no correspondence.
Okay, we will suggest that there is no correspondence then. Moving on, future agenda items that you'd like to see on it, on our agenda. And I will, oh, is there,
How about that? Sherry took it on me.
ha-ha. Okay.
Don't do that again, Sherry.
Okay, we have a letter from the EDIC in regard to town landfill reuse study meeting. The Falmouth EDIC have entered into a memorandum of understanding with the town to study potential reuses of the closed landfill located off of Thomas B. Landers Road. The EDIC has retained the services of a consulting firm to help it study the costs and benefits of various potential reuses, and would like to invite you and other members of your committee to attend a workshop on Wednesday, January 8th, so that's tomorrow, at 5:30 p.m., to discuss what those potential reuses may be. The consultant will present examples of what other communities have done with their closed landfills and what options may be available for our town. The meeting will be held in the conference room on the second floor of the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce building located at 20 Academy Lane. It says best to enter the side door, right side door, and you can email Michael Galasso. Look forward to seeing you on January 8th. So,
It's tomorrow at 5:30.
correct. Tomorrow at 5:30 at the Chamber Building, second floor. Okay? Anyway, yes.
Brian, I got an email today. I don't know if it was, you were copied on it, I don't know if you got it, but I didn't think it was appropriate. It was sent to all of us from someone from the Historic Commission about an issue we're discussing. I'm just wondering, isn't that supposed to come to you and you distribute to us, and they shouldn't be emailing us directly?
Because it's a preliminary plan, the email, the correspondence that you received from Nancy Hidden.
Yes, I was just wondering if,
Yeah, if it were a definitive plan, you should just hit click,
okay.
and we would have alerted you to that. But preliminary plans are, they're not recordable, they're not appealable, they're not binding,
So it doesn't really matter.
you kind of,
I wondered why we hadn't heard something. That explains it. Thank you.
Rich?
Click it anyway.
when the rubber hits the road, when it's an actual hearing,
We don't take them.
Okay. Yeah, Paul.
Just out of excess of caution.
You asked about future agenda items.
Correct.
There were a few items brought up at the last meeting. I assume they'll be progressing in the next couple of weeks. Is that true?
which ones are those, Paul? So
There
they're
was
on
one about
progressive.
Sunrise Estates, for example, was one,
So
and a
we
few
see
others.
that in 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Which one was that?
Sunrise Estates.
Oh, yeah, right.
And this one, there was a note here when I came in from Doug Jones. This is in regard to when we had our joint meeting. Recall that there was a lot of positive feedback and wanting another joint meeting between the Board of Selectmen and the Planning Board sooner rather than later. So
What's
Doug,
the subject?
the subject, so far as we're concerned, that we really wanted to discuss is the whole planning area in around Spring Bars, Worcester Court.
It's the Cape Cod Commission report.
Yes, using that, but discussing how we want to go further with that whole thing as a planning area, and what their views are, what our views are, and we had talked about a workshop on a Saturday. So evidently, last night, they talked about potentially the 11th of January, which doesn't work for them. So they're throwing out the 18th of January, and I'd just like to poll the board members here to see if that is a potential date. Do you know of anything that would conflict with the 18th of January? Obviously, we don't all have to be there, but there has to be a significant number of us.
Is that a Monday night?
18th, Brian thinks is a
Saturday
Saturday,
morning.
yeah, Saturday morning, and it would be for probably 2-3 hours.
Are they buying breakfast?
Oh, I imagine we could arrange something like that. Why, is that what it takes to get you there?
I don't know, something
On Saturday.
sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I think it should be an interesting sort of thing because it will be less formal than our standard meetings. And I think we can, where we accomplished quite a bit at the prior joint meeting, I'm hopeful that we will get quite a bit done this way, too. So I know I can attend. What about the rest of you?
I'm working Saturdays.
Okay, so you cannot attend on a Saturday morning.
I can do
You can.
Be out of town.
You'll be out of town.
I can rearrange my schedule.
Okay.
I can reluctantly attend.
Okay, that's 4 of us.
Probably not, but I can't plan that far ahead.
Okay. So that is 4 of us, Brian, of
2
the 7
weeks.
who can attend. Okay.
that. Is there an anticipated time frame for that?
Presumptively, they were suggesting 9 o'clock, I think, so
9 till
probably
noon or
9 till
something like
noon. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. And I imagine we can arrange to have donuts.
As long as they bring the donuts.
Right. Okay, so you can get back to them and say if that is a sufficient attendance on our part, knowing that Rich may or may not, Bob never can on a Saturday morning. Okay? Okay, is there anything else, future? Okay, now, at this point, I'm going to move that we move into executive session.
Madam Chair, may I be excused for the evening, since this seems to be the last agenda item?
It is. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay, so I move that we go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to pending litigation, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the board. And may I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'm not going to even ask for discussion, we all know what this is about, and
Will not be returning to open session tonight.
I was told that,
Okay.
okay, I can do that, but I also thought, well, then I have to adjourn the regular meeting before I make this motion, or we have to return. No, no?
What you do is, you take the vote, and then you announce to the public that you will not be reconvening in open sessions at the end of your evening.
Okay, so we do not adjourn the regular meeting then? At that-
Kind of.
Yeah, you would.
Kind of,
I think
but-
you would have to.
Well, we always take a motion and so on, but,
Do the motion, that's first.
okay, and this is, what?
We need to vote on.
Well, this is in regard to the Mammoth Acquisition LLC versus the Planning Board litigation strategy that we will be going into executive session. So, it's been moved, it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
We
Roll
wait, we
call,
have
yep.
to, I'm sorry, we have to do roll call. So,
Aye.
Ralph, Paul,
Aye.
Aye.
Bob, aye.
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 Okay, so it is unanimous.
Aye.
So at this point, the public should know that we will not be returning to open session after the executive session tonight. Pat, could you see that yeah, thank you.